Hey everyone, welcome to week 7 of our series, No Excuses. Don't just be a hearer of the word, you must be a doer of the word. Otherwise, you're only fooling yourselves. Hope you guys are still hanging in there and hope you guys are following after the Lord and you guys are being doers. I know a lot of you are being doers right now because we've been serving and doing all sorts of things like that. So keep hanging in there. But tonight, our topic is worship and praise. What does it look like to worship and praise the Lord? They kind of fall hand in hand, but they are two separate things. But I have a story that I want to tell you guys that kind of brought me to, that shows you how I ended up here in front of this camera talking to you guys today. And it ends up right before COVID. I was on a snowmobile trip with Brian Mott, actually, and my brother, Sean. You can ask Brian about this story. He actually literally witnessed what I'm about to tell you, and he can tell you it felt more epic, but to him it wasn't as epic. But anyways, up there snowmobile, and I would go up every weekend, every winter, and rent a snowmobile for a day and it's just something I really enjoy. I grew up doing it. But we're up there snowmobiling, and I'm driving down the trail, and I'm being kind of cocky, to be honest. And I fly down the trail, come around this corner. It was really bad trails, actually. We'll blame it on that, but it's okay. We're not going to blame it on that. But bad trails. And my ski grinds in, and I bail because the sled's starting to tip over, and I jump off of this thing at like 40 miles per hour. And I'm flying through the air like a Swedish fish and falling to my demise. I smash my shoulder, and I shatter my shoulder. I tear my rotator cuff. Absolutely an awful injury. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that, but I still can feel it to this day. But I remember when this happened. This was right before landscape season because I was a landscaper prior to being in front of the camera with you guys and teaching you guys about the Bible. I was a landscaper. I've been doing that for 20 years. This would have been my 20th year doing it. And I used my hands, I used my muscles, and that's how I would make money. I needed this to do the job. And we were just about to start. We were already laying the foundation for starting the season out. It was like right at the end of winter, and we're about to get the ball rolling for it. And I end up shattering my shoulder and tearing my rotator cuff, and they're telling me it's like an 8-week recovery time. I was so angry. I'm like, why is this happening? I remember sitting with my wife, and I'm like, I was so upset with it. And she's like, hey, you gotta chill out. You gotta trust the Lord with this and hand it over to Him. All praise to Him we don't know why this happened, but it probably happened for a reason. I'm like, why would this happen for a reason? This didn't happen. I was in a bad spot with it. I wasn't giving any praise to the Lord. I wasn't worshiping Him with it. But the situation, I was just upset. Little did I know that was the start. By me breaking my shoulder and tearing my rotator cuff, it started a chain reaction, which led me to be in front of this camera today. And I won't get into the full line out of the story, but basically, I wouldn't give God praise then, but I look back now and I think back on the situation and how it all fit together like a glove, like a fine woven puzzle, or fine woven tapestry, I guess you should call it, like a quilt, like old people quilt kind of thing. But I looked at it then and I didn't view it like that. I was just upset, but I should have been praising Him but that happening, I ended up here. I get to teach you guys the Bible. I get to follow after the Lord. I'm just filled, my heart is filled with just love and joy as I get to teach you guys about this every day. And it makes me think of the story of Paul and Silas in Acts 16. You have the story of this guy. You have Paul, Apostle Paul, and he's with this guy Silas, and they're in Philippi. They're walking around, and they come across this woman that is, she has a demonic spirit inside of her, and people made money off of her as a means of that, kind of like witchcraft kind of thing, whatever. And Paul rebukes and casts this demon out of this woman, and as a result, they get thrown in prison for it. They're in prison, and while they're in prison, they're praising and worshiping the Lord and praying to Him. And what ends up happening is the gates open up, the shackles fall off their feet, and the jailer that was keeping watch over them, he ends up being saved, and his whole family as a result of all of this. But Paul, in the beginning of this problem, like when this was happening, he could have cursed God and been angry about it, him and Silas, but he didn't. They went to prison willingly, and they were praising and praying in the prison, singing about how amazing and how wonderful the Lord is. And that's how we need to be. That's how I should have been when that happened in the beginning. I should have just trusted the Lord and known that He had everything lined out for me, every door open, and I should have just trusted and praised Him with whatever was happening. And that's what praise and worship is about. It's the praise is us being thankful for everything that he's given us, thankful to others. And the worship is us, like literally, it's our lifestyle. It's us laying up our lives. Romans 12:1 says, we all know the verse, and so, my dear brothers and sisters, I plead to you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him. It's laying up our lives every day and following him and being a doer. Praise and worship. So tonight in your groups, I want you guys to talk and discuss the difference between praise and worship, what that looks like, because it's all over the Bible. It can be raising your hands and singing and thanking. I want you to dig into that. Do you guys praise and worship God during the struggles you face in life? Do you guys praise and worship him during the good times in your life? I was just having a conversation with my daughter the other night, and I asked her what she was thankful for, what she could give praise to God for, and she didn't have anything. I don't mean to throw her under the bus, but she didn't have anything that she could give him. And I had to explain it to her, like, everything we have is because of him. We owe him thanks for everything. We are to lay up our lives for him and to worship him every single day. This is our spiritual worship, just to present ourselves holy and acceptable to the Lord. What can I do for you? So tonight in your groups, talk about praise, talk about worship, and talk about all those things. Okay, guys?